any weird craving? Suddenly feel so sad. Big believer of sleep training. Names we considered be more self-aware, not as strict anymore. Traumatizing topic. Pregnancy book recommendations. The simpler the better. Shouldn't be so conscious about your weight. Advice for first-time moms: always give yourself grace. Hey Cam fam, we are still pregnant, which is why I've decided to do a pregnancy-related vlog again, which is a pregnancy Q&A for all of you guys. Actually, in the beginning, I wasn't really planning to make another pregnancy Q&A because I feel like I've already answered a lot of them during my first pregnancy. But then I'd always get a lot of like DMs and messages and comments from a lot of you guys who are expectant mothers or are moms or are just, really curious about the pregnancy. So I figured, why not do another round of Q&A for you guys? Okay, let's start. I have my questions over here. What was the difference between your first and second pregnancy journeys? Well, let's start with the similarities first. So I've talked to you guys about my hormonal acne. I guess that's my only struggle with pregnancy. It's really the acne that came with it during the first trimester. So it happened again with this second pregnancy. So it happened right away, first trimester, and then it cleared up by the second trimester. The difference, I would say, I think I was just generally more youthful with Sienna. So I felt stronger, or maybe that's just me forgetting things, but Yoni is saying, you're still so strong and you're still so active now. But then in my head, I'm thinking, parang feeling ko I was stronger with Sienna then. Because now I feel like mas mabilis akong nahingal. Before with Sienna, like I only felt it like really close to my due date. Now I run out of breath easily. I guess also as a second time preggo, I'm generally much more chill now with the things that I'm preparing for the second pregnancy. I feel like I actually already know, like, okay, this one we'll need, this one we won't need. Because with the first pregnancy, I just really said yes to everything and I accepted so many like baby gifts and everything. And now I was really more intentional with the stuff that we'll be keeping for baby number 2 because I didn't want to be wasteful. So I've become very selective when it comes to that. Also, I'm not as strict anymore with the things I eat. With Sienna, I was really on a strict diet because of my OB then. So I was really like gluten-free, dairy-free, egg-free. And that actually messed up with my mental and emotional health then. Like I remember crying to my husband and my sister and just like saying, I just really want to eat. But now I really eat whatever I want, which is why I also gained more with this pregnancy, which I don't mind as long as my OB thinks it's not an issue, then it's fine. Speaking of diet, do you strictly eat healthy meals only? I'm struggling at second trimester. I drink coffee also. I really don't drink coffee, but like I have friends, like for example, Chris, she's such a coffee drinker. So she's actually allowed like 1 coffee per day. So I think coffee is okay. You can ask your OB as long as you just take it very, very moderately. For me, I would say I don't strictly eat healthy meals for this pregnancy. With Sienna, yes, I was really, really healthy. But for now, my cravings are crazy. Like my main craving from start to finish is really cheese. So I love yung mga very like cheesy pastries, like mga puto with cheese, mga ganyan. And until now, at midnight, I would ask Yoni to make me grilled cheese sandwich. So I'm definitely not healthy, but I do make sure to stay away from highly processed food. Do you have any weird cravings? Yun lang talaga, cheese. But in the first trimester, it was actually really similar with my first pregnancy. I was very sensitive to certain smells and tastes. And it was very similar. I really just wanted super fresh, super simple flavors. Nothing too savory, nothing too garlicky. I really wanted citrusy, lemony, super duper fresh stuff. Which is why it was hard for me in the first trimester because I wasn't really telling people yet that I was pregnant and I was traveling a lot, right? I went to a bunch of bachelorettes and weddings and everything. So it was hard for me in the beginning because, sometimes they don't have light options. Do you still get paranoid with little things during pregnancy? Parang we need to ask my husband so that we know we're truly honest about this question. But I think no, I haven't been paranoid, but also I've been really lucky because I don't know if you can say this is lucky or unlucky, but this second baby is so active, insanely active. That's also one of the main differences actually. If you guys follow me on my IG stories, you know that this baby is always in the club. Like it's always dancing. As in every single day from morning till night, I can feel her kicks. I can feel her doing somersaults inside. It's just crazy. You'll see my belly going like this. Super duper active baby, which is why maybe that's why I'm not so paranoid because I feel her movement and I feel her presence every single day. Do you also have negative thoughts during this time or always positive and happy? I'm generally not as positive during the first trimester really because of my acne. Acne talaga really takes over my emotional health. And also, diba, during the first trimester, that's when you feel really sluggish, you feel very uninspired, you feel very lazy, you're just always in bed. But come second trimester, when my skin is finally skinning, usually that's when I turn really, really positive and happy. I'm generally a very positive and happy person, so I don't really have a lot of negative thoughts. But I do have these moments, I don't know how to explain it, like a sudden sad feeling, and I can't explain what it is. Every now and then I'd feel it, not so often. Like I'd feel it maybe like once in a month or like once in a few weeks. And I would always tell Yoni, I'd be like, oh, I suddenly feel so sad. Like there's suddenly a drop, but it doesn't stay with me long. But there's that feeling. There's no thought behind it. It's just really like something sunk. I really don't know why I feel that. But you know, our hormones are, so maybe it's because of that. What week did you go on a baby moon? Oh no, I can't remember. Parang it was around 28, 29 weeks. I think it's always best to do your baby moon during your second trimester because that's when you really feel more active. You feel like you have more energy and you're not so heavy yet. You don't run out of breath as fast, and it's really generally the safest for you to travel. And then just judge by how active you are because every pregnancy is different. You also have to consider how active you were pre-pregnancy. That's something that the doctors also consider. So if you're generally an active person, then you can probably still be like really, really active with your baby moon. So my tip would be to really listen to your body and know what your body can take. If you feel like your body needs a baby moon that's kind of like, you know, a beach, like super chill, relaxed, then go for that. This is not the time to push your body. So really just go where you're comfortable and don't set out to do a lot of things during your baby moon. You should really use this time to enjoy yourself and your partner because it will be a long time before you guys can do this again. Do you already have a name for your baby? Yes. This name was actually the first name that we wanted for Sienna before we came up with Sienna. It's always been a name that I really, really love. And I shared it with Yoni even before we got pregnant with Sienna. And Yoni really loved it as well. But then one day it was just like, Sienna is also a really nice name. And it's nice because, you know, there's a meaning behind it. We got married there. Maybe we should use Sienna instead. So that's why this name has always still been there, a great contender. And we knew that it would be one of the greatest contender again if we do get another girl, which we are having. So that's why now we get to use that name. Did you plan your pregnancy this year? Some tips to women in their late 30s who want to conceive. Yes, we did plan our pregnancy this year. For me, it's because I wanted a dragon baby. But for Yoni naman, he really didn't want the gap to be too big between Sienna and the next baby. And he was saying if we don't do it now, he doesn't want another one. Because the main motivation for Yoni is really to give Sienna a sibling. So he really was very mindful of that age gap, and that's why we planned it. And thankfully, it was very, very easy for us to conceive. The same with the first time around. So do I have tips for women in their late 30s? I guess in the more practical side, make sure that you are in contact with your OB. Make sure that everything's good. You're also taking your supplements and making sure that your body is healthy and ready to conceive. And then I guess if you've got all of that in order, just try your best not to stress yourself out. I know it's easier said than done, but really, really try because I feel like, you know, your body can really feel when you're stressed out and when you put so much pressure on yourself. Also, it really helps to look at the calendar, learn when you're fertile, when you're ovulating. That's really, really helpful as well. I also believe in a healthy diet and a healthy lifestyle. I think that also helps your body to be ready to conceive. Did you experience anxiety during pregnancy? How did you handle it? Yes, a lot of different times. So again, first when I got hormonal acne, and then second when I would get emotional because I worry about how Sienna would feel once the new baby comes. So parang ngayon pa lang I was already feeling some sort of like mom guilt when I can't spend as much time with her because I don't have the energy, or I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to rest. So dun pa lang I'm already feeling the mom guilt. So sometimes that makes me feel anxious. And also, there's a lot of things going on in the house. I'm sure I've mentioned this. We've been doing some repairs. That's a huge source of anxiety for me. I also launched skin during my third trimester, another source of anxiety for me. So I definitely did experience anxiety during my pregnancy. And I think it just really helps to voice it out and to share it with someone that you trust 100%. And that for me is Yoni and my sister. So I think it really helps that I was able to voice out my anxieties to them, and they were able to give me sound advice and really help me calm down. I think it's also really helpful to try to be more self-aware, try to find out what the sources of your anxieties are so that you know how to tackle them or you know how to work around them. I think being self-aware is a super duper powerful tool, and that is how you are able to make your mind more powerful than your anxiety. You get what I mean? When did you transition from co-sleeping with Sienna in the same room to independent sleeping? Someone was also asking about sleep training, so I'll put that in one. So co-sleeping for me is still Sienna in her own bed. For me, I believe that when the baby is in their own space. It's a safer environment. And for her, at that time, her crib was like right beside our bed. So she was with us until 3-4 months, I think. Can't quite remember. And then we started sleep training her when she was around 5 months old. And that was when we flew to Finland. We would have started sleep training her when she was 4 months old because that's when you can start sleep training. But we were advised by Ria of Himbing to wait until we're at Finland because we were going to be there for like a month at least, which then ended up being extended. But she wanted us to have like a really longer period. So since she knew we were traveling to a different time zone, it's better for us to just do it while we're there. And that's when we started sleep training her. And then from then onwards, she's always been an independent sleeper. She sleeps in her own room. And I remember when we first tried this, like when we were thinking about, okay, how do we do the sleep training? I was telling Yoni, are we sure like no one's gonna be sleeping in her room? Like no one's gonna be in the same room with her? Is that safe? Because diba dito sa Pilipinas, like especially for us when we were growing up, we're so sanay na there's an adult sleeping with us. It could be your nanny, it could be your parent or whoever. And then Yoni goes, actually everyone in Europe is like this. Nothing has happened to me. Yoni was saying that, you know, we've always been in our own rooms. No one's in the same room with us and it's perfectly fine. And I'm like, oh, I know. It's just that's what we got used to. So yeah, I'm a very, 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 very big believer of sleep training. I think it's great because you teach your child to be more independent. There are always a lot of different ways to sleep train. If you do your research, you'll see that there are different philosophies around it and different rules around it. Even for us, when we started sleep training, we didn't follow certain rules strictly. We still adapted it to our own way, like what we're most comfortable with. Like how long are we comfortable waiting for Sienna to self-soothe? And then we also tried to adjust it to her personality. Like we knew that on certain days she needed more help, and on those days sleep training takes a back seat. So we'd help her and do certain things that normal sleep training rules won't allow. So I think if you're really interested in sleep training, read up on it, read up on all the different types of sleep training, and then see what you're most comfortable with and go from there. I think one of the main rules lang talaga is to just make sure that you have a routine that you follow, because you know babies are creatures of habit, and to make sure that every time it's sleeping time, the room is conducive to sleep. So it's always the same and it's always also part of your routine. Like for us, it was so important to always have like lights out, blackout curtains. We always followed a certain schedule for her. We followed a certain order of things when we do her nighttime routine, and that really helped a lot. Would you frequently travel with baby number 2 the same way you did with Sienna when she was a baby? We don't know. I feel like that's so different because with Sienna, things were slowing down then. It was during the pandemic, so we got to travel a lot because we were in Europe and she got to experience more things there because, you know, things were more normal per se there. So we wanted her to experience like more of the world, and that's why we really traveled with her. With baby number 2, I don't know, because now, you know, work is at full force again, and it's also now we're a bigger family. You know, the logistics are different, so I really don't know. We're open, of course. There's no yes or no. Like, we're not really sure. We'll see how it goes. We'll go with the flow. Will you be having a scheduled C-section? I'm open to doing a VBAC, so that's vaginal birth after C-section. Because Sienna's already 3, I am a good candidate for it. I'm allowed to do it. So yeah, we're open for both. I don't want to set my mind to, you know, no, I really have to do a vaginal birth. Like, I really am open to whatever might happen. You know, the baby might not drop. Like with Sienna, I went through labor and then I ended up doing C-section as well. So we'll see. Hopefully, we're able to do vaginal birth. But if not, then I'm completely fine with it as well. How do you deal with nausea? I know you guys are gonna hate me, but I didn't feel it. I didn't feel it at all. I didn't feel it during the first pregnancy. I didn't feel it now. And I think I really am just so lucky with my pregnancies because my only problem is just really the hormonal acne. Nothing else. Like, I don't have nausea. I don't have morning sickness. I don't have problems sleeping from start to finish until now on my 39th week. I am still completely fine sleeping. I can sleep in all different positions. I also don't pee a lot. Like, at most, I pee once at night and I could still sleep through it, even though my baby is so active and she kicks me all the time. I also just sleep through it. I have no problems. I have no insomnia. So yeah, I know it's annoying. I really am thankful that pregnancy for me is generally very, very easy. Pregnancy book recommendations. Of course, what to expect when you're having a baby. That's a mainstay. That's one of the first books that I really read. And then Chris also recommended to me Moms on Call. So that's what I read for this second pregnancy. That's a really easy read. Like, you can finish it in like 1, 2, 3 days. Super easy. If you don't have time, that's a good read because it's really just bullet points. And then I also have the Baby Centers book. I think that's really nice as well because it covers a lot of different topics, but that doesn't explain your pregnancy. It explains after pregnancy stuff. So like newborn stuff, breastfeeding and stuff like that. I can't remember, but I also read a breastfeeding book. I don't know if it was the La Leche Lee breastfeeding book. I think so, yeah. It's The Womanly Art of Breastfeeding. That's what it's called. But it's very intense. It's an intense breastfeeding book. I read it the first time around, but I really liked that I did that. It made me feel more prepared. What items are you bringing in your hospital bag? It was already in one of my previous vlogs, so do check that out. How do you maintain your weight? Honestly, as long as you're eating healthy, that's fine. I think that, you're growing a baby. You shouldn't be so conscious about your weight. As long as your OB is saying that you're growing well and, you don't have to cut out certain things, you don't have like high sugar, high blood pressure, then your weight shouldn't be something that you're stressing about. As long as your OB thinks you're healthy, you're growing, that's great because, your baby needs all the nutrition they can get from you. So that weight should be the last thing that you should worry about. And also once the baby is out, a lot of that weight is out already. It's also going to be easier for you to lose weight when you breastfeed. What are your meds that you take before and when you travel, especially because you do a lot of events? Oh, you mean supplements? I just do a prenatal supplement for immunity, vitamin C. I take omega-3 as well. I'm also low blood, so I need to take iron. If I feel like I need extra immunity or extra protection, I take Immune Pro. I think that really helps me. I try my best not to take medicine when I'm feeling like almost sick. I just take Immune Pro and drink lots of water and sleep, and then I'm usually okay. Skincare and makeup products that are safe for pregnant women. Honestly, during my first pregnancy, I was also like super paranoid with everything that I put in my body and my face and everything. But it also depends on your OB, how strict your OB is, and also your own risk appetite. But generally speaking, you can still do AHAs and BHAs as long as they're in small amounts. They're not in like really, really high amounts. And as long as they're wash off. Skin at skincollective.com are pregnancy and breastfeeding safe. I think what's really important lang for you to stay away from are mga retinol, ganyan. And then when it comes to sunscreen, I also try my best to stick to physical or mineral sunscreen instead of chemical. Some names we considered for baby that we didn't end up using. I really like Kaya, so it could be a CAIA or KAIA, but Yoni didn't approve of it. I also really like Rumi, RUMI. You still use the red and blue face light? You mean like LED lights? Mga LED light technology for the face? I don't anymore, but they're completely safe to use, so if you have them, then go ahead. How do you make sure makapit si baby from all your travels and work? That's why you should always consult your OB and get the approval from your OB. So I always have regular checkups with my OB, and we can see that, amniotic fluid is great, there's no problems with the baby, so I'm free to travel. And because I'm generally an active person, so she knew that even while pregnant, I'm still active, and she was completely fine with it. What did you do to prepare your body for your second pregnancy? Parang wala masyado. But I am generally healthy kasi also. I don't binge, I don't have vices. I think I was already pregnant and I still was drinking a little bit of alcohol because I was with Sunny's Siargao. And I came home from Sunny's Siargao and found out that I was pregnant. I actually told this to my OB too, and sabi ng OB ko, that's no problem, it's completely normal. A lot of pregnant women don't know that they're pregnant and then they just accidentally like, oh my god, I was still drinking pala, but I was pregnant na pala then. So yeah, but wala nothing. I didn't prepare much. I've always been exercising, always been pretty healthy. I always make sure I have greens in my diet. So I've also always been really religious with my supplements and everything. But you know what I never did? I never did diets. Like yung mga sudden diets and like big diets, yung mga para lang pumayat and stuff like that. I've never done that. And I did hear from friends that when you do mga crash diets or like yung mga certain types of diets, that actually affects pala your fertility in the long run. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard it from other people that can affect daw. Skincare tips and healthcare tips during pregnancy and every stage. I think the simpler the better. The less fuss, the safer. That's why also when we were creating Skin, CKIN, I also wanted it to be really, really simple. I don't know, but every time I get pregnant, I always turn to simpler things, even with makeup and everything. How do you cure veiny tummy and stretch marks due to pregnancy? First of all, this is really, 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 really normal for all of us to experience. I mean, I personally still put a lot of the creams and the oils and everything and the lotions, but I think stretch marks are really kind of hereditary. If you're meant to have them, you'll have them. No matter how much lotion, I mean, it helps. It can lessen it. It can make it less itchy and stuff like that. But I think they're hereditary. Even yung mga, what do you call it, the linea negra, I think those are also hereditary. Pati yung parang nagmamanas or like you're getting dark armpits and everything, I think it's really just in your DNA. There's nothing you can do really to stop it. I think that's my theory. For first-time expectant mothers who are scared, what's your advice? I remember when we were planning to get pregnant the first time around, and when we got pregnant, one of the things that really, really scared me was the birthing experience. So if that's something that you're scared of, I just want you to know that you're strong, and so many other women have gone through it, and we've all survived it, and we all still keep doing it. So it's not that bad. It's true what they say. Pagdating mo talaga sa moment na yon, it's like all your fears and anxieties, they really just disappear. I remember when I gave birth to Sienna, and I was doing this during the pandemic, so I was alone the entire time. I didn't have Yoni with me from labor to delivery to recovery. And for some reason, I didn't feel scared. I didn't feel anxious. Like, I was just floating. And then, totoo talaga yung sinasabi nila na afterwards, you completely forget all the other things and you're just really wrapped up in your baby. Like, I gave birth 3 years ago. There's so much that I've already forgotten about my experience. experience. So yeah, so just remember you're a strong mama and you're doing everything that you can. As long as you're in constant communication with your OB, you're following everything that your OB is saying, you know that you're taking good care of yourself and your baby, then there's nothing to be scared of. If you're scared of the postpartum, like how to take care of your baby, we all started from zero knowledge. Everyone starts from there. So it's a learning curve, and just give yourself grace. For how long can you travel or sit during your third trimester? Did One Life Studio help you with the cramping, etc.? I love doing Pilates. So if your doctor allows you to exercise until the very end, then do it. I think no matter if you're doing a C-section or you're doing a vaginal delivery, I think it really, really helps. Someone actually commented on my Instagram story when I was doing my Pilates, and they're like, aren't you doing C-section? Like, why are you still doing these exercises? I feel like I actually recovered so much faster because I always worked out. And I think it really helps your body recover faster, no matter if you're doing vaginal or C-section. It helps when you move around, especially sometimes when I'm always just in bed or I sat in the wrong chair, it's not ergonomic, and I was sitting there the entire day just working and answering emails. It really helps me when I do my stretches with One Life Studio. The stretches are a godsend. So having said that, usually I'd already feel like a lower back pain siguro if I sit for like 2 hours. But I also have this nice pillow that I bought. It's like the same pillow that you use if you've got hemorrhoids. I call it a donut pillow, and I put it on the chairs that I sit on, and that actually makes the sitting experience better. How long did you breastfeed Sienna, and do you plan to breastfeed baby number 2 too? Breastfeeding for me is such a traumatizing topic. I've mentioned this also on the vlog several times, that when Yoni and I decided to plan for baby number 2, I told him I'm not scared of the pregnancy, going through acne and like giving birth. I'm not scared of any of it. I'm only really scared of breastfeeding. Like, just thinking about it makes me so emotional. It's just that I went through such a hard time with Sienna, and I still have so many feelings about it. I exclusively breastfed Sienna for 4 months, and then we did mixed feeding, and then by 7th, 8th month, she was already purely formula fed. And I know that everyone says fed is best, but you know, as a mom, di mawala yung mom guilt, right? Like, oh my gosh, I wasn't able to give her breast milk for her entire first year. And even though Yoni keeps telling me you did everything, you went crazy trying to do everything that you can. You read all the books, you kept watching all the videos, and still, it was so hard for me because I kept getting blebs practically every week. I remember sitting in our bathroom toilet, just sitting there overnight from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m., just trying to get the bleb out. And that was really one of my most depressing moments, breastfeeding. So now with the second baby, even though I'm so scared of what might happen and if the journey would be the same again, I am still very determined to try again. And I hope talaga na it would be a better experience. I also mentioned this in my previous vlog. My OB actually asked me about my breastfeeding with Sienna, and I just completely bawled, and like, I didn't expect to just cry so much. She just asked me that one question and I cried so much na. And she just answered me, you know, that was during the pandemic. This time, let's get you all the support you need. And I'm so determined to really just get all the support that I need to make sure that my breastfeeding journey is much better, and I really want to try. I'll keep trying. Advice for first-time moms and how to have a positive birthing experience. 1, to read up on a lot of these birthing books and like what to expect, and then 2, to take all these birthing classes. I took one with Birth Times with Chiki, and it just helps you feel much more prepared. It calms you down. It takes away your anxiety, because I feel like when you have more knowledge about something, that it makes you feel more prepared, so that it makes you feel less anxious. I remember someone telling me to never ever set your mind to just one birthing experience, because you'll never know really what will happen. Things can change at the very last minute. So as long as your baby is healthy, then you should be fine. Even if, for example, you're aiming for, let's say, a vaginal birth and you end up getting a C-section, I hope that that doesn't make or break your birthing experience. So just when you go in there, go with an open mind, so that, you know, if you end up with a vaginal or a C-section, you'd still end up feeling very happy and fulfilled as long as your baby is healthy. Did you prep Sienna before deciding for baby number 2? We're really lucky because Sienna really loves babies. Like, she was the one who actually kept asking us, you know, Mom, like, I want to have a baby. I want to have a baby already. So we're really lucky in that sense. But every day, we still try to prep her. We make her feel involved. I always make sure to make her touch my belly if baby is moving. She also watches these videos with me on the What to Expect app. So she sees like, okay, this is how baby looks inside my tummy. And then we also took a class, the Welcoming a Sibling class, just to get some tips and like know what to expect once baby is out, you know, how Sienna might behave, how we can help Sienna adjust to this new change. So yeah, definitely we've been prepping Sienna, and hopefully when baby is out, it's still all butterflies and rainbows because she's really the most excited. Like, she really wants to see baby already. What pump will you be using for baby number 2? I actually have 2 pumps that were given to me. One is the Spectra hospital grade pump. It's my first time to be using it, but I was really happy when I got it because a lot of my mom friends highly recommend it. And I also have the new Medela Freestyle pump. It's not the one with the bottles jutting out. It's it's more portable. So that's something I'll be using also when I'm out. When's the right time to nest or pack your hospital bag? I feel like I'm not the right person to answer this because I packed my hospital bag at 37 weeks, which is a major no-no. You can already give birth then. But judging from my first pregnancy when I went into preterm labor with Sienna because I ate something bad, I got an infection. I think the safest is really to pack your hospital bag around 33 weeks. How are you preparing for 2 kids? Well, first of all, I'm preparing their rooms. We finally designed Sienna and baby's room. So that's one of the major preparations for us. Other than that, and also preparing Sienna mentally and emotionally. And I guess other than the baby essentials, there's not much that we can do. I've been told by a lot of mommy friends, you know, you can prepare as much as you want, but you'll never really know until the baby is out. So I think it's really more of like mentally and emotionally preparing yourself to just be ready for what's to come and the big change that's about to happen. What will you do differently with baby number 2? I think I want to try to train her to sleep in a stroller because that's something that Sienna wasn't able to really master. It was so hard to put her to sleep while in the stroller. And we were in Europe that time, so I was so jealous of all the moms just, you know, putting their babies to sleep. Like even when they're out and about, you know, the baby just falls asleep in the stroller. So hopefully that's something that I can do. Like I really want to make sure that, you know, she has one nap in the stroller so that if we're bringing her out, it's going to be easy for us to put her to sleep in the stroller as well. I think that's it because I feel like we did well naman with Sienna. The sleep training, the baby-led weaning, so yeah. Yaya arrangements plus yaya tips. Well, for us, we are very strict with the time. Like we want to respect our yaya's time. So yaya is already off by like 7:30, 8 p.m. We no longer ask her to do anything after that. I really want to respect her time and make sure that she gets enough rest. Yaya tips. I think when you're looking for a yaya, you really have to make sure that they have experience. Also, that they align with your values. Because I've had a yaya before who just I knew did not align with my values, my way of raising Sienna. She didn't understand why I had certain rules, why we had to follow these schedules. So that created a problem already. So I think you really have to make sure that the yaya you go for understands your way of raising your child because you guys have to be a team. So what you say should be done to your kid should be the same with yaya. You guys shouldn't be giving different sets of rules to your child because then that wouldn't work. I think that's the best tip that I can give you when it comes to looking for a yaya. Also, make sure that you lay out your expectations so that there's nothing that's lost in translation and they know what you expect of them. Constipation problem. Yun lang yung question niya. Wala lang question mark. So I'm guessing like you want some tips. Again, wala akong problema dyan. But I think it really helps because I have a green smoothie and I have probiotics. I think probiotics and green smoothie, just making sure that you eat your greens, that will help so much. Will you be allowing your fur babies around baby Kokoro number 2? Yes, of course. With Sienna, we allowed them. We just watched them really closely. You know, you never leave them alone with your fur babies. We're really lucky because Pixie is the biggest out of all of them. And I think siya yung may pinaka-potential to hurt them because her nails are really sharp, even though we file them. But she's also really the gentlest. Like, she's very gentle with babies. I think also it's gonna be an easier adjustment for Penny. I think out of everyone, it took Penny the longest to adjust because she was our baby, like our main baby before Sienna came. But now I think she's so close to Sienna and she's seen how Sienna has been from baby to now that I feel like it's gonna be so much easier for her to adjust the second time around. Fingers crossed. Are you still using Baby Plus? Yes, it's right here in my bed. I still use it every day. Wala lang, there's no harm in using it. I have a lot of friends who were able to compare because they use Baby Plus for their second pregnancy, the first hindi, and they really see the difference now. So for me, I mean, Sienna is perfect. Just kidding. But you know, no harm, no foul. So I really still use it every single day. First pregnancy and I'm for sure scared. How do I stay strong and connected with myself? I think it's really just, again, arm yourself with knowledge. That's the best way to feel prepared and strong. Also, make sure to do stuff for yourself because whenever you do stuff for yourself, you're also doing that for baby. Whenever you feel healthy and happy, baby is also healthy and happy. Once baby is out, that's when I think you really feel less connected with yourself. A lot of moms feel that. Of course, it's because, you know, there's a huge drop in your hormones, you know? It's like we're built to experience this. Also, like, it's such a huge change. You're also still adjusting to this change. So it's very easy to feel like you no longer connect with yourself. So I hope that you make sure to surround yourself with a great support system. It really does take a village to raise a baby because that village is not just needed for your baby, but for you as well. And also give yourself grace and adjust your expectations because I feel like we expect so much of ourselves and that's why I said to give yourself grace. Again, think of this as something new and motherhood is something that you learn. It's not something that's just natural. You have to learn how to become a mother. So give yourself grace. I keep saying that. Just remember to always give yourself grace. And that is it for our pregnancy Q&A. I hope that you guys enjoyed it and learned something. If you guys have any more questions, then please make sure to leave them below. I'll try my best to answer them. If hindi ako maka-answer, it just means that I'm busy being a mom. Thank you so much. See you guys at the next vlog.